They don't sell you a phone. They don't build your car. They don't make your clothes or stream your movies. And yet, they control more of the world than Apple, Tesla, Netflix, and Amazon combined. Their name is barely spoken. Their power, unimaginable. This is the story of BlackRock, the silent giant shaping your economy, your politics, and your future. The story begins in 1988, a pivotal year in the world of finance. A man named Larry Fink, a name whispered with respect and admiration, was once a rising star at First Boston. He possessed a sharp mind and an uncanny ability to navigate the complexities of the market. However, even the brightest stars can face unexpected setbacks. Fink had just lost $100 million in a single ill-fated bet on mortgage-backed securities, a staggering loss that could have crushed many careers. But from failure, from the ashes of that defeat, came fire, a burning desire to not just recover, but to revolutionize. Fink, undeterred by his past misstep, had a bold and innovative vision. He envisioned creating a new kind of firm, one that harnessed the power of technology to master risk, to understand it, and ultimately, to control it. Not to shy away from it, but to confront it head-on with data and analytics. With a small but dedicated team of just 8 partners and a starting capital of $5 million, a mere drop in the ocean of Wall Street, he founded BlackRock, a name that would soon become synonymous with financial power. The mission was deceptively simple yet profoundly ambitious. Control risk with unwavering discipline. Build trust with clients through transparency and integrity. And above all, never lose a dime again. A promise that would define their approach to investment. They weren't just traders chasing quick profits and riding the waves of market volatility. They were risk managers, meticulous and analytical, focused on long-term stability and sustainable growth. And that fundamental difference in philosophy, that commitment to risk management, made all the difference in their ascent to the top. The world runs on software. And Wall Street, it runs on Aladdin. No, not the Disney movie. Aladdin is BlackRock's most powerful weapon. A hyper-intelligent risk management system analyzing over $20 trillion in global assets every second. More than 200 institutions, including central banks, sovereign funds, and insurance giants, rely on Aladdin. If the global economy had a brain, this is it. BlackRock doesn't just manage money, it manages how money thinks. As of 2025, BlackRock controls over $10 trillion in assets. That's more than the GDP of every country except the US and China. They own stakes in Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Pfizer, Tesla, ExxonMobil. But they don't just invest. Through their iShares ETF empire, BlackRock influences how people invest, where money flows and who gets funded. They are the invisible shareholder in nearly every boardroom on Earth. When the 2008 financial system collapsed, who did the US government turn to? BlackRock. They were hired to analyze toxic assets, manage bailouts, and stabilize markets. Again in 2020, during the COVID crash, the Federal Reserve entrusted BlackRock to manage its corporate bond buying program, a private company hired to act like a central bank. In the shadows of every financial rescue, behind closed doors in Washington, you'll find the fingerprints of BlackRock. BlackRock claims to care about the planet. They publish annual letters demanding companies align with ESG standards, environment, social, governance. They've pledged to exit coal, push for green energy, and fight climate change. But critics say it's greenwashing, that BlackRock says one thing and funds the opposite. When you're invested in everything, can you ever take a real stand? With power this vast comes paranoia. When a single entity amasses such influence, whispers and doubts inevitably arise. The scale of their holdings is simply too big to ignore. Some say BlackRock is part of the trillion-dollar triangle, alongside Vanguard and State Street, controlling 90% of the S&P 500. A concentration of wealth and voting power that raises serious questions about market competition and fairness. This immense control gives them significant leverage over the direction of corporate America. Others see them as puppet masters, shaping wars, policies, and elections from behind the scenes, pulling strings in the global arena, influencing decisions that affect billions. These theories, while often dismissed, highlight the unease surrounding such concentrated financial might. BlackRock says they're just stewards. that they vote on behalf of their clients, acting in their best interests. They claim to be responsible investors, guiding companies towards sustainable and profitable growth. But if one company can control who gets funded, who leads and who falls, wielding the power to make or break entire industries, is that stewardship, or is it something more, or sovereignty? A new form of global power where financial influence rivals the authority of nations. The line blurs and the implications are profound. In a world so interconnected, what happens if Aladdin fails? What if BlackRock pulls out of a market or gets it wrong? A butterfly flaps its wings in New York, and a pension fund in India collapses. This is the fragile paradox. BlackRock exists to manage risk, but its very size is a risk the world can no longer afford to ignore. Larry Fink, once an outsider, is now a kingmaker. He speaks, and CEOs listen. He moves, and markets follow. He calls for climate action, and entire industries shift. But what is his purpose? Is it legacy, influence, or just control? You didn't vote for BlackRock. You can't sue them. You can't replace them through any democratic process. Their influence operates outside the realm of traditional political accountability. They weren't elected, yet their decisions shape our lives in profound ways. Yet they influence what you buy, from the smallest everyday items to major life purchases. They impact where you work, dictating opportunities and shaping career paths. They even affect how your government borrows, influencing national debt and economic policy. And perhaps most significantly, they influence how your planet changes, contributing to both environmental challenges and potential solutions. They're not inherently evil, driven by malicious intent, but neither are they heroes, selflessly working for the common good. They're just powerful, immensely powerful, operating on a scale that few can comprehend. And in this new world, where money, data, and trust define empires, the most powerful entity is the one you've never heard of. The one operating behind the scenes, pulling the strings of global finance. BlackRock, the invisible hand that moves the world. A name whispered in financial circles but largely unknown to the general public. If this story shook you, subscribe to stay informed. Share it with your network. Talk about it with your friends and family. Start a conversation. Because true power hides in silence, until someone dares to speak, until the truth is brought into the light.